Gemini, so let's see what is in the store for you. In particular, I receive lots of downloads, lots of messages. If you want to know more details about it, please check my community area on my channel, because people who are on my newsletter, they got that information there. And please sign up for my newsletter because you get some goodies and coupons, and it always helps, right? So, okay, guys, let's see what we can see over here for you that you need to kind of look upon, deal with, and then how to kind of like sail into 2020 and the new decade. Let's see, Gemini. So guys, this is called Lenormand. It's kind of like really neat reading. It's very different from tarot, and I'm looking this all upright because I get better messages, believe it or not, upright. I cannot imagine doing that with tarot, but here that's how it kind of like seems to be working best. So this is also going to be included for each sign in my annual Taroscopes. So I'm inviting you to order them. They are now half the price. Okay guys, there is some kind of issue in communication. There is some kind of issue, especially if you have a partner. And why is this all foggy and fuzzy over here? Am I moving too fast? Am I moving too fast, Mr. or Mrs. Camera? There you go, that's why it is. Just want to see who is messing things up. Somebody is isolating themselves. I would say a partner is isolating himself, and like, I mean, it's kind of weird situation. It's kind of like it's really playing, making your mind play a whole bunch of motives and scenarios, because after all, you're an air sign like me. They kind of like freak out on this. Like, I mean, you, god of Mercury, is basically that god of communication. It's like that mind. That's why you have two heads, because with one head you cannot really speak as much as you need to speak. And look at that. You have the cross in the house of the heart. Now that's significant. Okay, so before I really talk about it, let's see everything else. There's a difference in between doing Grand Tableau and doing any other, like, I mean, 3, 4, 5 Lenormand cards. Oops, that was sexy, because you see all of these messages. So Lenormand will be included as a specific reading on my website, but for now you need to request it with traditional readings. Just to let you know, I don't charge this much, of course, not even close, but people charge $500 for this reading, because it can literally like tell you everything that you need to know about your life to an hour. Of course, it drains me as a reader. Yes, the cross in the heart house is really wearing me out, especially more so because the snake is here, which definitely, and the fox, she's like mirroring the fox. Okay, so what you need to wrap up, if you're dealing with a partner, maybe you're not dealing with partner directly, because maybe you have to deal with issues where you feel like you're isolated. Maybe you feel you depend on other people. Maybe you feel, you might even feel the world is against you. The gentleman is in the house of the tree. So somebody really needs to recover. That's just like recover, like, I mean, health area, recovalences. I cannot even pronounce this. Recovalesce. I guess you're going to help me out with the pronunciation. Who better to ask than Gemini? But the house is in the house of the clouds. So somebody's not certain where my home is, and look at this house is knighting this heart, kind of like home is where the heart is, kind of a thing. So this person is really trying to get to the bottom of not only what do I feel for this, but how do I feel for this, and like what makes sense. It's kind of like really interesting that you have this stork over here. Maybe there is someone who, and this is kind of like where you're meeting with this person over here. It's very indirect, as I said. So if you are with someone, this person is going to pull away, and you will need to deal with that. It's going to be really hard on you, because something like that happened in the past, and you really didn't know how to deal with this. Like, I mean, when the communication stopped, maybe somebody, like, I mean, released the letter, or there was like, I'm going to tell this anyway, and maybe it triggered things that were not even there, and it kind of like made it in a much bigger issue, which could have happened during this Mercury retrograde. And of course you are ruled with Mercury, so for you retrograde lasts a bit longer than for the rest of, you know, the signs. So you probably feel the shadow 3 weeks before and 3 weeks after, so keep that in mind. But it does look to me that you have been going through the thick and thin, and you're trying to kind of like, you know, move mountains to make something happen. But it just felt that no matter what you did, it got freaking nowhere. That you kind of like had financial drains, you had maybe legal issues, or I cannot say that you had sexual issues. That seemed to be kind of like working really well. But at the same time, it was really hard for you to really put your finger and say, yeah, maybe, you know, loyalties are there. It kind of like really felt that you really didn't have this, like, I mean, firm grasp, or where do you go? Because look, all you could see is that freaking mountain on one side and the mice on the other side, and then things from the past coming up. It kind of like felt really weird. And it looks like it might take a complete release of this person, of this situation. And yeah, sure, I can see this communication that will happen in the future, but it can happen around Christmas time. It can even happen later. This seems to be a process that I see that for you will last a few months. It could even be as far as March. And then it looks like somebody's leaving the house. Maybe this person is leaving the house. Maybe the secrets or something is kind of like getting revealed over here. Something that basically is affecting your destiny as well. Like this fox and the snake, both cards are really, really bad. And they're really talking about cunning men and women, but here's general reading, so hard to tell. And on top of it, the fox is in the house of the snake, right? So they are going to kind of like add something to the story, and this is I think entire problem over here. You're asking possibly for somebody to have an independent thought, because interestingly I see the ship on this side and the stork on this side. Both cards can really talk about movement, right? It can talk about journey and even travel for sure. They can also talk about relocation, but then this is almost like, no, you don't have to stamp, or I didn't approve that, that's not what I said. It started to be like really tangled up and messed up for some reason. Another card where two of you and this guy are meeting into is the book, and also the freaking mice and the fish indirectly to you and a little bit indirect to this person. The fish to me, it's always like throw this fish back, throw it back in the pond, right? It kind of like it feels weird, and I think because this is direct to you that you will decide, you know, this is really getting hard. Like, I mean, it looks like you've just been through something like that with this person, and now like is like, not again, I cannot do that, right? So the anchor here is in the house of the anchor, which means it feels really well. You kind of like are going to feel really good with this decision. I think the issue was maybe a child, but a child could mean literally your child, that you are making decisions based on, your kids. And this book is in the crossroads. But this also tells me you might make decision because of the kids, because it's going to make more sense. So now this cross, as I said, relationship is ending. This is the house of the cross, is the garden. I really think this maybe signifies a new beginning. It's telling you wrap negative relationships and anything and anybody that is negative. And also you guys will need to learn, how do you deal with naysayers? How do you move forward? How do you deal with your karmic burden? Like, you have been given this gift of gab for a reason, because not everybody is just going to be agreeable or on the same tangent with you. Clearly, people will be bringing things up that are completely nonsensical to you, but they make complete sense to them. And it may be completely the opposite of what you believe and what you really want. So you will really have to watch your steps, because it looks like you're going through a whole bunch of hoops. But this person who might be complicating your life will also have lots of issues. They might have issues at work. They might look for a promotion and they really want to look up, and maybe that's why they're neglecting you. And then they get this like promotion or new job, and they realize, oh my freaking God, I am screwed and I don't know how to deal with this. Like, new coworkers don't like me. Something doesn't fit. All of a sudden, like, more money or prestige position is turning into unhappiness and watching your back. And that's usually how it works. Whenever you climb up, people want to take you down. Lobster syndrome, right? So guys, this kite was also the first card, which really tells me that your main message, and I also have the clouds here, but the main message is that you really need to cut something off. And I really think what you need to cut off is something that is preventing you of getting happiness. So you need to do that internally, whatever it is in your ability to tend to. If you are not capable of going in that direction, if you depend on somebody else to make that, render the decision for you, that's not the way to go. And I would leave the snake and the fox, just deal with themselves. You have your own path and going straight where you're going, even though this means somebody nagging you to freaking death, right? Still keep going, because this is a process where you'll be able to communicate what you want and how you want it. And this is really very important, because this is really linking to the stars, which was the second. It was like something that has been cut off in the past that might come back in the future to be able to be positioned and communicated better, because the karma has been released, right? And if you step in somebody else's karma, and we usually do when we swear at people, when we want to tell people off, when we want to add our 2 cents, it's none of our business. And also, on the same token, when we don't step in, when we should step in, it would be the right thing to do. So you really need to, if you really wish, screw your head right, screw 2 of your heads right, because your side has 2, in order to move forward and reach that clarity, and let kind of like bygones be bygones, and only clarify for yourself what you need and what you want. So my dear Gemini, I really hope this helps. Would like to get your comments, and this Lenormand will be included, as I said, in my annuals. So please order annuals. They're half price right now. And yeah, until the next time, you guys know that I love you.